scary to think about, because if you was in that situation, you would be terrified.
Oh, absolutely, and they are.
Like in our example, that's not something out of a Saw movie.
Yeah.
But because they're animals and we're just used to eating them, it's just a normality because no one wants to think about it. They just want a meal at the end of the day.
We don't think about it because we're at the top of the food chain.
Yeah. It's just, like I said, it's easy. It's just the easy thing to do. It's easy to just forget about it and pop to KFC or pop to Mackey's or just something.
I'm just asking people if they can share their thoughts on animal abuse and what that means to them. So what does it mean to you two?
So I would say animal abuse is any sort of forceful behaviour that causes an animal, whether it's emotional or physical abuse, because at the end of the day, animals are just as important as we are.
They're very intelligent as well.
More intelligent than other people, I think, actually realise. Like, even with dogs, when people have dogs as pets, just talking to the dog, you could see that they could understand you and that they've got a deeper connection than people a lot of people realise.
Right, they're like highly intelligent, aren't they?
A lot, yeah.
And I think it's just any kind of putting them in any kind of distress, any unnecessary distress as well.
Yeah. And what do you think of animal abusers?
I think
I hate
they're
them.
horrible people. I think they don't deserve to be around animals because at the end of the day, like we just said, they're intelligent and lovely creatures that need to be looked after because they would do anything for us if you got a bomb there.
I have more empathy for animals than humans because I feel like animals have just the best intentions. Like, obviously they have their survival instincts, but even with a dog, they can be so loyal, and cats can be so loyal that they would, their last resort, to hurt you. I can't watch a film with any animal getting hurt and I'll cry, but I can watch humans get murdered and everything.
We recently watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh god.
And she was in tears the entire time just watching the animals with any type of sort of.
I haven't seen the third one.
It's quite.
Does it show animal abuse in it then?
A little bit.
It's like
they show
experimenting.
Yeah, they sort of show like an experimental side to the animals, but then it shows them coming back and taking back against the humans, which I thought was a really cool twist on sort of like.
Okay.
It shows it from Rocket's side of the different perspectives, which I thought was really
Because they
cool.
took animals when they were babies off Earth and then made them into kind of
half cyborg sort of creatures, but
mutant kind of things.
That's very interesting.
But even in like this as well, testing different cosmetics and products, that's still putting them in danger as well. Similar to how they were doing it, making them half cyborgs. We're testing loads of products on them that can also put them at risk, just as that does.
Right, and that makes me think of the way, because animals in animal agriculture are bred to be a certain way. A chicken nowadays, modern chickens produce around 300 eggs a year when they naturally produce 10. So it's almost like this weird cyber kind of,
It's like with dog breeding when we've been breeding dogs to look a certain way, with French bulldogs, how they used to be so fit and healthy, and then we bred them that their noses are so pushed down, and pugs as well.
A lot of pugs that they can't even breathe, they have to go through an additional surgery just so they can breathe, which is I think is
it's sad.
The long run it's really sad
because they don't have a long life expectancy.
And ultimately what the reason is for the human pleasure they enjoy it is cute. For some people,
cute, but I don't think it's
isn't
cute because you can literally hear them suffering to breathe.
It's if we struggle, we've got apnea machines and everything that we can have, whereas animals they can't do that type of stuff because it's not safe for them. And they have to go through surgeries anyway, which still could put them at risk either way. It's just there are positive things and negative things in this world as well. For example, I saw a video the other day where these guys had found a horse that had been in the wild for too long, and obviously its hooves are overgrown and everything. They looked after him. That sense is positive because humans can look after animals, but I think more areas where everyone's more relaxed with animals, where everyone's got a dog, everyone's got a cat, they take it for granted because they haven't had the opportunity to be in a world where they haven't had them to look after them.
We domesticated them a lot.
What do you think about those animals which we've domesticated and we're not as pets but as to farm, the ones that we kind of put in cramped conditions and we kill them at an early age for meat and dairy?
I think it's really wrong. I think that they should live a full life because whether or not they're still living sentient beings.
Right.
Because I get that obviously humans we like meat,
got to meet demands, but
I don't think that they should be put through a horrible life and a horrible death just so we can eat. We've got other sources of getting food if we actually put the time into it. But
So
it's
even
just-
back when like being cavemen, you know, we still survived back then. We didn't have all this technology now where you could just force breed animals. It was all
Yeah.
natural, and everything was, you know, sort of done. It's probably a lot easier than it is now, and you know.
But that's
a lot
why
of
they're
people-
doing it, because it's easy. It's
Yeah.
like more money as well.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
money.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it's about money, and a lot of it's kind of is convenience and taste as well, which is why people don't change, because we're used to have like consuming those animal products, and we're used to just going to shops and buying what we buy. And it is kind of tricky at the start to make those alternatives.
And that's why there's so many health problems in humans now, because we've got so much processed food rather than natural, like
natural organic
produced
stuff. Yeah.
Did you know that meat and dairy like increase cholesterol and increase the risk of like strokes and heart disease?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Heart
heard, I heard
attacks.
it, we talked about it not long ago actually. It's crazy how much they're, at this point, I think it's more processed than it is actual natural at this point, and we're going to get to a point where, like talking over there, they're going to stop 3D printing food and everything, like meals and that sort of stuff, and at one point it's just going to be so unhealthy for you that, if you've watched Wall-E, like on the spaceship, and they're all just too fat and too unhealthy to even live. I don't want to get to that stage,
No.
you know. That's why I try and eat as balanced and as healthy as I can.
We say that we just come from KFC.
Yeah.
Have you considered consuming a largely plant-based diet or pretty plant-based?
I have a couple times, to be honest.
I have. It's just the money aspect that holds us back a lot.
Yeah, I think companies that do make like vegan meals do take the mick quite a bit with prices.
Yeah, and also groceries seem to be really expensive.
Yeah.
You know, in our areas more so. But
Have you looked at consuming more like whole foods, plant-based food? So it's like not so processed, because supermarkets will and like restaurants will put a premium on like the meat alternatives.
Okay.
And although they are good and they do give you like that kind of taste of the meat, so it is a really good replication. But you don't actually need it to live healthily and get all the nutrients you need. And it is cheaper to eat mostly whole foods. Like I do sometimes have processed food, but I mostly have whole foods. So I'm a student and like I'm quite broke, so I need to spend less
that's
money
the
on
problem.
food.
It's money. Like no one has money, so it's just easy to be like, oh,
To choose the easier option.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say for the life of that animal that's being farmed and ultimately slaughtered, do you think they'd want us to go a little bit more out of our way to kind of plan our diets and buy those cheaper foods, so those like whole foods?
At least so they can live a happier life. At least anyway, like even like with free range eggs, you know, they have more freedom, and you can tell because the eggs are better. Even like when you have them, they maybe still have a little bit of like human interaction here and there, but they are a lot better, not just in like production, but also in taste as well.
the quality.
It may take longer, but at the end of the day, like they still get to do what they want to do as well.
People valuing quantity over quality. That's the problem.
Do you know that free-range eggs, although so they're given a larger space, but it's still they're living in very, very confined conditions, and ultimately they still get killed very young. Like, do you know how older chicken gets killed in the UK? Chicken meat. It's around 30 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like you know they're like practically children.
Yeah.
So
That's
even if
not enough to
it's
have a
free
lot.
range, the welfare of the animal is slightly better, but ultimately the death is the exact same. And
It's
like
still
again,
not
do you know how chickens are killed in the UK?
I do know that one of them is like a shock to the back of the neck and that sort of stuff. But I've seen a few videos lately on TikTok where it's just been really, really brutal, like unnecessarily brutal.
Yeah.
Even on the news, when I saw the videos of them just chucking chickens across it into the coops and everything.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
often in
don't
farms,
agree
if they're
with that.
injured, they'll just. I've seen videos of them like hitting them against the ground to kill them.
Yeah.
Really brutal methods of killing them. But the actual, the legal way in the UK, and like the humane, considered humane way, is they hang them upside down and they drop them in a pool of electrified water to stun them, and then they'll cut their throats after. But quite often, because they are moving around, they miss the water, so they'll be conscious, or they'll wake up for their death. So we
It's
can't.
so scary to think of, because if you was in that situation, you would be terrified.
Oh, absolutely, and they are.
Like in our example, that's not something out of a Saw movie.
Yeah.
But because they're animals and we're just used to eating them, it's just a normality because no one wants to think about it. They just want a meal at the
We
end of the
don't
day.
think about it because we're at the top of the food chain.
Yeah. It's just, like I said, it's easy. It's just the easy thing to do. It's easy to just forget about it and pop to KFC or pop to Mackey's or just something.
Yeah.
I think that's partly why it's so on commercial scale, it's so kind of done on mass scale, and there's that massive detachment.
Yeah.
So, we kind of put them away in these sheds. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. So we put them away in these sheds in the middle of the countryside. So we never really see them. We get someone else to slaughter them, and then we buy them in this very neat package, or in like a burger, and we don't see the process that goes behind it.
It's different because we're not doing the actual killing, so it's easy just to be like, this burger wasn't once a cow. Like, it's easy just to be like, it's just a burger, like it's food.
Yeah.
I think everyone, because just because we've been brought up with it, we can also all be automatically ignorant to the situation. I know I am at times as well. I don't think about it because I just think I'll get back from work and I'm thinking I'm too stressed to worry about food right now. I just need to grab something, anything that's in my sight. And in times I would like to switch it around. But another thing is I struggle with eating vegetables as well. I always have them since I was little. But I do try where I can to try and do more of that sort of stuff than going to these sort of big fast food restaurants where they do take the mick. They have to hit such a high quota that they just like I said, kill them at 13 weeks just to get their orders out.
Yeah, you get like profits, like you said, money. It's all about money for them.
About money nowadays.
And would you say because where we have our power is where we spend our money? So would you say we should be putting our money towards things which we consider more ethical?
Yeah.
I think we should. Yeah. But the problem is willpower for a lot of people. It's the willpower to be like.
I wouldn't mind eating meat if it was made to be like people have a better life, that animals have a better life. I'd feel more comfortable in eating any animal product at all, whether it is milk, cheese, any of them. It'd be better as a whole. They got to live a fulfilled life in a way.
Yeah.
Do you think that's happening though on this
No,
massive
we're very
scale?
far from that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. A lot more people need to speak up about it.
Like even proving today, like as you said, we're the first person to talk to in 20 minutes. Like that proves that not a lot of people do really think about that sort of stuff, and they just want to get on with their lives and probably go and just eat.
Exactly, it's inconvenient to change your habits.
Yeah.
And also because people are so used to what they've been doing and consuming meat, it does seem to be this radical idea, and it seems like a massive jump. But ultimately, it is just changing what you're buying and changing what you're putting on your plate. And once you make that habit, it really doesn't take much effort at all. Yeah. And again, because you just have to do a little bit of planning to make sure you're getting your nutritional needs. Yeah. But people don't meet their nutritional needs whilst eating meat and dairy.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Yeah. So actually, I found that by kind of going out of my way to think more about what I'm eating, I'm actually a lot healthier.
Yeah. It is really like a willpower thing, because if you think about how many more fast food restaurants are in one area than just a grocery store, a proper
like a healthy,
one little
organic.
here, like a Tesco down the road or that. But there's there's a KFC, a Subway, another KFC down there,
Greggs
down there, Greggs everywhere.
So there's more temptation for people when we're walking by just to be like, let's just get a Macca's.
It saves time going to Tesco's and buying actual food.
And then cooking it, and then it's laziness, but that's just.
Well, in our society, because we don't. I don't know, because we, in capitalism, we have so little time to think about other things rather than kind of survival. Yeah. So we do just go to the first thing that we see.
Yeah.
Would you say though, when we have that thought though, McDonald's, Greggs, KFC, that we, instead of going in there and automatically buying, we should kind of remind ourselves of the process behind that and the suffering the animals gone through?
I think we have been doing it like lately. We have been really chilling out on sort of takeaway foods, and we've been trying to eat.
We've been trying to cook more.
Going out, looking at the proper foods, going probably get this instead.
We've been trying to lately. I've been trying to do budgeting for money and stuff, trying to budget grocery shopping into it, because also we live with my parents as well.
You just head off. I don't want to hold you up if you need to.
No, it's all good. It's only down the road, but we have to shoot off now.
Yeah, no, of course. So thank you for the conversation. Can I give you a piece of paper with you? What's your name, by the way?
Isaac.
Isaac. What's your name?
Jess.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
My name's Amber, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
My YouTube channel is called Amber for Animals, so you hopefully be featured. If I give you one of these each.
Yep.
Basically, so the top QR code goes to a website called Challenge 22, and they give you 3 weeks worth of meal suggestions.
Okay.
So you say you're trying to cook more.
Yeah.
If you check them out, they'll have like loads of suggestions for you, and it's mostly like cheaper whole food stuff. And they also have like nutritional guides. So if you're not sure how to get your nutrition, ask them. And the other one's like an animal advocacy video from an animal rights activist, and he talks more about the ethics of it and for our health and for the environment, why you should do it.
And can I just say, this approach is much better than what the internet is, where it's very like
It's all
forceful.
shouting,
Right.
shouting, all anger. It's better to be explained to,
I mean,
explain what goes on, what's going on. Not to be judged, but
shame.
That's the thing. Like, I think most people don't talk to me because they think I'm going to be coming from like a moral high ground.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, I ate meat for 18 years. I'm not judging anyone. Like, it's because it is so ingrained in our society. But like, as a society, we need to kind of wake up from what's happening and how, you know, like animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change. So if not for the animals, then for the entire environment.
I think that's another thing as well. A lot of people, when they hear vegan activists or any sort of animal activists, they think, oh God, I'm just going to get shamed and moaned at again. That's another thing as well.
Yeah.
Especially with like the vegan teacher, you know, a few years ago, she was shaming everyone constantly, saying that everyone was wrong, you know, all this different stuff. But if people genuinely just talk to you on the same level and just have that conversation where, you know, you let them know what actually goes on and how you can get around doing different things, it'll make people want to do it more. Like even from this conversation, I wouldn't mind trying to change it more.
But so like the Challenge 22 is like, the idea is it takes 3 weeks to change a habit. So if they ask for people to commit to 3 weeks of going plant-based, and if you can do 3 weeks, there's no reason why you can't do more than that and keep going. It's one of the resources that helped me go vegan. So, and just carry on the conversations with people as well, because people don't know what happens to these animals. So thanks for the time, guys.
It's lovely meeting you anyway.
You too.
Have a nice
Cheers.
day. Take care.
Thank you.
Check out your channel and everything.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified when videos go up every Monday and Thursday. If you want to watch another conversation, here are a couple of options. And if you want to support my activism, there's a link in my profile to a page where you can buy me a coffee. Thanks. Amber.